It's that time of the night, that time of the week, where I say, get off my lawn. It is the Dave 101.
It's time for Dave 101.
Open the door, it's Dave! Dave, D-A-V-E! Dave's not here! Dave's the killer! Yeah, Dave's the killer! Dave's a mess.
Another day, another SCIF in the UFO world, where down in Washington, D.C., Congress people, Luna, Burchett, and many others met with David Grush regarding UFOs or UAP, whatever it is. Who cares these days, really? Doesn't even matter anymore. Look, here's the thing that I want to talk about regarding these latest SCIFs and the hearings and the comments that were made afterwards. They're appalled that the DOD, the Department of Defense in the United States, will not play ball with anything that's going on. They are appalled by the lack of information coming forward. They are appalled by the idea that there is very, very little in the way of new news actually coming out. The question that has to be addressed here is, should we be surprised by this? The answer is no. Look, you don't have to be somebody staring into a crystal ball. You don't have to be somebody who is a journalist or somebody who is working on the inside to see the internal fighting of the UFO story, that there are many out there that do not want this story out. It's nothing new. It may even sound a little repetitive. But the idea that there are numerous people in the military and the military branches and the military contractors and the alphabet agencies who have a lot of secrets that they want to hold off on. So the fact that we are not getting any new news, or they are finding blockages, if we could call them that, greater than the Chicago Bears 1984 defense, it's not surprising that this topic, although popular, continues to stall with information. Look, in order to move the story forward, you have to have something new. And we keep seeing new players pop in and out of this game very often. And it should be no surprise that it will continue to happen like that as sideline deals are made, as sideline deals for information are cut. The grifting that allegedly goes on, and those who we need to speak who just aren't speaking publicly. That's the frustration of UFOs these days. I'm frustrated by it. I don't even know where to start. Because if you take a week off like I did a few weeks ago for holidays, you come back and you just can't pick up where you left off. Steve Bassett said that earlier this week, how it's getting extremely difficult to follow this story because there are so many highways and byways that are being created every day that you just don't have the time or the manpower to search down every path. How is this going to lead to some sort of disclosure? Well, unless somebody drops a bombshell of information that puts exact proof in the hands of the public, that's the only way it's going to happen. Look, there are people who are studying this topic, who are reporting on this topic, who still don't want to talk about one of the most amazing things that David Grush said in his early testimony a few months ago, and that is, we have the pilots. Who are the pilots? What do they look like? Where do they come from? Do they look like us? Or something so scary that it would literally scare the Jesus out of all of us? No, these UAPs continue to dominate, even though the story is much more advanced than that. Look, we can say what is a drone and what isn't a drone. We could try and break that down all day long. This is why, and once again, sounding repetitive, I continue to repeat, rinse, then repeat again the adage that there's a big difference between UAPs and UFOs. What we want is information on UFOs. We want to know who's flying them. We want to know where they are coming from. Government needs to stop wasting time on this UAP jargon and get to the point of what David Grush was saying. We got the pilots and we have the craft. It's really, if you think about it, not that hard if you continue to maintain focus. What do I want? I want to know these UAPs. No, that's not it. I want to know about these pilots and these craft that we have. It starts off with simple questions. Where are they? Where are the bodies? Where are the craft being stored? Where are they being tested? Where are they being re-engineered? Have we re-engineered them? Are the bodies buried? Are they in test tubes with formaldehyde in them to keep them looking fresh? Or are they dead? Or are they alive? If they're alive, where are they? Are they in a jail cell? Somewhere deep underground? Have they brought other beings to our areas? There are a lot of questions that go around that one statement of David Grush that's not even being asked, not even being talked about. And if you look at all the footage that has happened, not a single person has asked them, are they dead or are they alive? This is what's frustrating. This is where I'm in a conundrum on this show, wondering, do we even cover this anymore? Should we cover it? Is it something that you as the public want to know about? Or do you want more close encounter stories? The easy answer is you want both. And I know that. But is it more about the public and their stories than it is about how the government is turning this UFO story into a UAP circus? Because that's what it is right now. And if you're frustrated about it, imagine the conversations that are happening behind the scenes that are frustrating the hell out of people. Oh, this goes way beyond Grush and David Grush and Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon. Goes way beyond them. It goes to the lack of transparency. It goes to the lack of public knowledge. Where people like Burchett were talking about how we have to keep the public involved. Almost every politician in the U.S. that has stood up to this topic has talked about transparency and keeping an open watch for the public eye regarding UFOs and UAP. But where has it been? I don't want a talking head of Burchett anymore. You don't probably either. I want more whistleblowers to talk to. I want more whistleblowers come forward, put their name forward, as long as it doesn't harm national security. I want more politicians to say, this is what we were handed. We were handed photos, or we were handed videos. And by the way, we're going to release them to the public. That's transparency. That's the start of disclosure. Because this crap right now means absolutely nothing. It's a bunch of he said, she said crap that people are jockeying around to try and figure out what's going on. And yes, I know my critics will sit there and say, well, Dave, it's because it's a national security issue that we can't do that. Horse hockey. You can do it. As long as it doesn't violate national security, it needs to be released. And if UFOs aren't real, release the info. If they are real and truly a threat, what's the threat? Tell us something. Stop being unspecific. Is it a threat or not? Arrow now says it's not. The Canadian government says it is not. How much does that wake up people who have been pushing this threat narrative, creating companies around a threat narrative, and are looking to jockey for disclosure for dollars so they get their government contract at the end of this all, wherever the end may be? Is that what it's about? Money? Or is it about we are being visited? We don't know where they're coming from. They're not checking in with us. And simply, we don't know what they are or who they are. No, there is no transparency. There is no honesty or integrity regarding the UFO subject. And it's sad because to me, every time I hear a politician talk about this, it makes people like Travis Walton or the late Calvin Parker or the late Betty Andreasen, it makes their stories a lot more credible and a lot more heartfelt, that they are willing to step out on the line and talk about what is going on and what happened to them. And we learn through their experience. It is frustrating to say the least. I'm going to make this a two-parter here because I do want to repeat something that I said last week on the Dave 101. Halloween is among us. And while you may be walking down the street trick-or-treating, taking your child out for a great bag of candy and a lot of memories, and you're staring up at the sky seeing UFOs or witches fly by the moon, enjoy that. But here's the other thing I want you to enjoy. If you see teenagers, I don't care if they're 14 to 19 or even 20 years old, if you see them trick-or-treating, stop giving them a hard time. If they come to your door, don't say, aren't you a little old for this? Because remember the alternative. These kids, which they still are, chose to go trick-or-treating over potentially vandalizing buildings, robbing places, robbing people, stealing cars, or causing all sorts of mischief. No, these teenagers, instead of committing crimes or just being a bunch of hooligans, have decided that they're going to have fun and continue something that was always good to them. And that is dressing up in a costume and going trick-or-treating. Hell, even if they don't have a costume, they come to your door, give them some candy. Don't be rude. Don't be a prude. Don't show an insult, because these kids could be doing far more worse than coming to your house and saying trick or treat. And shame on you if you think it's okay for a 1-year-old to be trick-or-treating in their cute little cuddly costume of a dinosaur or a fish, where you just want to squeeze their cheeks because they look so darn cute, when all you know is that their parents are going to eat every piece of that candy. Give it to the teenagers. Don't give them a hard time. They're just trying to have fun too. And that's your Dave 101.